You're watching Fugitive Redeye, and welcome to another episode of Redeye Raw. This episode I'm filming in the dog room, which is the room behind the house that actually isn't attached to the house, and is sort of a semi-outside room, kind of like a shed. There's also some birds in the ceiling over there. Luckily they can't get into the real house, but they can get into here. But today, as the title implies, I'm going to be talking about my experience with copyright on the channel, and personally it really hasn't been that bad for me. But yeah, I personally haven't had that bad of a time with copyright. I've gotten plenty of claims, but I've only ever had 2 copyright strikes. Actually, no, I've only ever had 1 copyright strike and 2 community guideline strikes, one of which was a warning, and the other one I got dismissed. Well, obviously I'm back inside my room now. I was just checking on Petey. Kiki's not here right now. Ironically, they actually brought her back right as I said she wasn't here. But no, Kiki was at my grandma's because they wanted to take her over so everyone could play with her. For some reason, everyone likes to play with her a lot more than Petey just because she's a puppy. But anyway, back to copyright. With copyright, I've gotten plenty of claims, where the other companies will put ads on the video. I'm totally fine with that because I'm not monetized anyway. The only time I care is if it's not a legitimate monetization, like that time with Conquer Live and Reloaded. Some faggy dubstep remix of the Great Mighty Pooh claimed my Great Mighty Pooh part of the playthrough. So I edited out some of the audio for the one portion of the game. Because I don't fight copyright stuff a lot of the times, just because the way you fight it is you have to send all of your personal information to the person that made the fucking claim. But luckily, typically the claims I get are legit, or at least they're companies that I do feel own it. Like, most of my stuff is clearly fair use. There's some things that are gray areas and other things maybe not so much, but for the most part, my stuff is pretty undeniably fair use. But even then, I usually let it slide because it's not like I'm monetized to begin with. Oop, there goes my Dr. Pepper spilling out the top. No, most of the time I don't fight it. Sometimes I'll re-edit a video. If it gets blocked, for instance, like if it's blocked worldwide, I will re-edit the video so that I can have it be visible. If it's blocked in a few territories, like my Berserk playthrough, for instance, the 2 parts of my Berserk playthrough I've done so far on the PS4 are blocked in Austria and Germany. Now, I don't have a particularly big Austrian or German viewer base, so I didn't really bother making a re-edit. If I ever get one and there's a demand for it in the future, I might do a German-safe edit that removes the anime cutscenes, because that's why my Berserk one gets blocked in Germany. In addition to that, I've had stuff get blocked worldwide, where I've had to re-edit it and then re-upload it. Like my initial D-review originally used a lot more anime clips, and so I threw together a half-assed one with a lot of still images and effects from Movie Maker and just uploaded that. I've done the same thing with 91 Days. Both of those unedited versions are on my BitChute account, as is the unedited version of my Great Mighty Pooh portion of the Live and Reloaded playthrough. And I didn't have to edit it on the stream because I was talking over it the entire time saying, hey, fuck you, you're not going to claim this one. But most of the time, I don't have a problem with a claim. I get plenty of claims. For instance, my AMV. I uploaded that knowing full well it was going to get claimed by Rob Zombie, and that's fine. Rob Zombie can take money from that. I was just making an AMV. I'm not trying to make money off it. He can make money off it. It's his song. It's a good song. He deserves the money for it. Now, if it had been blocked, I would have been a little annoyed, but with that, it's kind of harder to argue it's fair use, because music is fucking weird like that. I would argue it is because it's transformative, but ultimately it does use his song in its entirety, so, you know, with that one, it's a little debatable. I'd say it probably isn't fair use, but he allows it to be up, as long as they get to put ads on it and give it to him or the record label or whoever. Same thing with several of my other videos that use copyrighted music. I don't use music a ton. But when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. No, just kidding. But when I do, I don't mind if they get claimed as long as they're not blocked. For instance, on my second channel, I did a tribute to cryptid videos. And currently that is claimed because it has the X-Files theme on it. But originally it was blocked because it didn't used to have the X-Files theme. It used to have that song from The Matrix, you know, Club to Death. Because it's a callback to 2009 cryptid videos, and like all of them had that song. You know, that one that goes boom, 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 you know, the one from The Matrix. That was in, like, every conspiracy, cryptid, and alien video in 2009 and 2010. But the X-Files was a fair substitute, so it's claimed, but still up on the second channel, so that's what's important. Other than that, I've been claimed for several different anime reviews when I use a lot of clips. That's why I'm always hesitant to use clips, and that's why for the longest time I mostly use still images, and I still do use a lot of still images, but if you've noticed, I have used a lot more clips lately, like my Megas versus Mazinger Z. That was entirely clips, rather than... Well, I mean, there was like one or two still images, but it was mostly clips from the shows. Although with the Megas, it did get claimed for using the song Short Hair, which is Coop's theme from Megas. And the Mazinger portions got claimed for some of the Shin Mazinger stuff. But again, I was kind of expecting something like that to happen, and it's still visible. They're just going to put ads on if they feel like it, so I don't care. They can go ahead and do that because they own the stuff. Technically, those are definitely fair use, but they're free to do that because I don't care. And I'm not going to fight them on it. If it wasn't the right people claiming it, that's when I care. When it's some company that doesn't own what I'm actually using. That's when I usually make a re-edit. I never send them my personal info, because I'm fucking paranoid as shit when it comes to that. But those are probably just some leftover emotions from my conspiracy theorist days. But also, I don't want people online having my personal information. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to request, is that they don't know who the fuck you are, and they can't, like, dox you or come after you. And I hate that YouTube has it so that you have to send them your name, your address, your phone number, your email, all of that. Because I tried to fight the copyright strike once on Gantz, but then I'm like, I don't want to send all this shit to Shueisha, because that's my one copyright strike I got. That was the first time I ever got a strike. That was when I got, I did my Gantz anime, or my Gantz anime and manga review, right? The anime portions were fine, didn't get a strike, but when it came to the manga, they gave it a strike for using images from the manga, because Shueisha are a bunch of little bitches and like to do shit like that. Shueisha's the ones who own Jump, so they do that from time to time because Jump is hot shit. By which I mean Jump is very popular. It's like the biggest manga distributor in Japan. So they get a little bit full of themselves and decide to strike shit down from time to time. I've only ever had the one strike. I've had other things get claimed, not by Jump. Luckily, that's the only time I've ever had any interaction with Shueisha, I think. But that's the reason whenever I've done videos about Gantz, I removed all the tags. So they're harder to find, because fuck Shueisha. Because I've done a few different videos on Gantz, and there's a couple. The ones that show images of the manga, I've made it harder for them to find because they're unlisted. You can find them if you know where to look. But those are definitely fair use. But fair use does not exist in Japan, so that's why Japanese companies are more willing to come after you, because they don't understand it. It's a cultural thing. That said, I've had other things claimed, like my Black Lagoon anime review is claimed by the studio that made it. I think it was Madhouse. Yeah, I think it was Madhouse. I think they're the ones who claimed it. But that's fine, because they made it. As long as it's not Funimation claiming it, because fuck Funimation. Yeah, that's fine. Madhouse can claim it if they want. That's fine, because that video is still up and people can still watch it. That's my main concern, is that people can watch it, because that's what I make videos for. I don't make them to make money. I make them to be watched. That's it. And because I enjoy making them. Now let's move on to the two community guideline strikes I've had to deal with in the past. One of which was for my Facts in the Late 30s episode 1, where I read the encyclopedia article from 1939 about Adolf Hitler. Luckily, I was able to dispute that, and they immediately responded to me with, okay, you're good, the video's back up. The strike's gone. That is great, because I've heard all these horror stories of people not getting their shit restored, but YouTube had a person look over it, they reviewed it, they found it wasn't in violation, because it wasn't, it was educational, and they restored it, and that's why I took down the video talking about the strike, because the strike is gone, so it doesn't matter. And that whole issue was resolved within 24 hours, so I was really happy that that video was restored. I might do some more Facts in the Late 30s at some point. I still have the encyclopedias, so if I can think of anything else that would be interesting to look into the 1939 encyclopedia entries on, I'll take a look. Then the second one I got was for my Sailor and the Seven Balls review, or rather Sailor and the Seven Balls 2, Return of the Balls, which was the worst anime I've ever seen. And it wasn't for the video itself, it was for the thumbnail, because it had that picture of Goku groping Sailor Moon. And while it doesn't technically show full nudity, it gets pretty close, and it does have Goku with his hands around Sailor Moon's breasts, and you can see everything except for the nipples. And they got a strike or a warning, because that's not a strike. So that warning is always in effect. You only get one warning. But I didn't bother fighting it, because I'm like, it's kind of on the fence. It could be argued either way. So what I did was I re-edited that thumbnail and just, like, cut out a large chunk of the picture. It's funny, though, because that video is age-restricted. I made it very clear that was an age-restricted video. And it was a manual strike, because it came in, like, months and months after I uploaded that video. But it's fine, whatever. The video's still up. It has a new version of the thumbnail that's censored. Even though it didn't show anything, it just came pretty close. But Sailor and the Seven Balls 2 was garbage. Fuck that anime. It was fucking horrible. Those are the only 2 times I've had community guidelines issues. I did have stuff blocked worldwide back in the day quite a bit. The funniest thing is the earliest video I ever had blocked worldwide is one that I actually deleted and no longer exists on the channel, and I have no archive of it, unfortunately. That was my Halo music video, Death of Me by Red. It was blocked worldwide. I think it might have been visible in the US, and that was it. It was bad. You couldn't even hear the song. It was back in 2011. Or maybe it was 2010. It was back in 2010. Whew, that was close. Almost dropped my Dr. Pepper. But it was back in 2010. And, back then, I think they just went on the tags and title. So I just changed the title. And then I, swapped out the audio with some royalty-free music, and it was fine. Granted, I swapped out the audio before changing the music, and it was still blocked without the audio. So it's okay, they were clearly going on the title back then, because the algorithm was a much younger bot back then. It was very stupid. It still is, but it was less advanced back then, which is kind of a double-edged sword. But anyway, that was a garbage video. You couldn't even hear the song, because it was coming from the TV audio, which wasn't very loud. But it was just a shaky camera being held up to the TV anyway. All the age restrictions on my channel have been put there by me. Some of them I need to rectify, because some of them don't belong there. And I've been working on that slowly. If you've paid attention, you may notice some of my stuff may not have that on it anymore. But some of them definitely are staying age-restricted, like the hentai reviews. Those are staying like that. Even though I don't actually show any of the more graphic stuff, I'm still leaving them like that. Because they are hentai reviews. They're for 18+. And that in the future, I'm going to make sure all my hentai reviews are age-restricted. Another quick thing I want to talk about is, obviously during this whole radio silence era of the channel where I'm not responding with comments, I'll probably still get plenty of comments and questions that I haven't been paying attention to, because, again, I've been taking a break from the internet for the most part. But I've got a good idea for that. What I'm going to do, when I make the full return and start Gen 5 redeye, meaning everything will be back to normal, I pay attention to comments, I respond, everything again. Once everything happens then, which, again, I can't promise when that'll be. That could be a while from now, it could be a little while from now, who knows? It's really up to when I decide, based on how I feel things are going and everything. Once that happens, once everything goes back to complete and total normalcy, I'm going to do a special episode of Redeye Responds called Responding to Comments. And what I'll do is I'll compile a shitload of comments that I got while I was in this radio silence era, and I'll just answer them all in a video. That way, people get all their questions answered. It could be a while, but eventually people will get their answers. But yeah, the copyright system is definitely flawed on YouTube. But luckily, I've done pretty well with it myself. So far, they can come after you years later, so you never know. But so far, I've skirted by with very minimal issues. A few things are claimed where they put ads on it, that's fine. A couple of things are blocked in a few countries, like specifically my Berserk playthroughs are pretty much all going to be blocked in Germany and Austria. At least for Berserk and the Band of the Hawk on the PS4. I doubt the other 2 games are going to be blocked, because I don't think they have anime cutscenes. If shit gets blocked, then I'll fix it. For instance, when I did my original Factor Fishy video, I had to re-edit it because the original version was only viewable in Canada. Also, that Factor Fishy video is privated now if you try to look for it. That'll go back up eventually. That's not my number 1 priority to fix. But that will go back up, I promise you. At some point it will. But that was privated once they started the whole COPPA thing, because I went through it, and I think it's one of the only videos where I did not swear in the video at all. And, I'm debating how I want to relist it. Just because of the way it is. Because it is, SpongeBob. And I don't swear in it as far as I can tell. So, we'll see how I decide to relist that if I do. I'm sure I will eventually, some way or another. Especially since I think I'm one of the few people who actually did a video on Factor Fishy, because I could never find any others back in the day. Another thing I want to mention, different topic, but, you know what's really fucking annoying? Have you seen all those mobile game ads where you'll get some YouTuber who's, semi-big, And they'll be like, oh, I love this game. I don't want to do this. Oh, I got this hero. Oh, I got this champion. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And they're like super excited and pumped and saying, oh, this game is so great. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Fuck them. Okay, fuck you. That is really annoying, and I don't believe you. Those games look like absolute garbage. Stop acting so fucking hyped for them. They're not good. They're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip. Speaking of shitty mobile games, I'm going to be uploading a few different mobile game videos in the next little bit, but that's, I'm not going to be super hyped about them. They're bad mobile games. Although, admittedly, they're kind of fun in kind of a weird way. Like, so I'm going to be uploading, the next one I'm going to upload is going to be, an anime opening guessing game quiz, which I recorded a few days ago. But I need to edit it a little bit just to shorten it and cut out some of the fluff. Other than that, there's also 2 different videos of this Guess the Anime based on the picture game. That's going to take a little bit too, because I'm going to edit it down again and cut out some of the fluff, because I'm going to cut out the ads, because there were some ads and stuff in that game. No guarantee when those will go up, but probably within the next little bit here. Still working on that Special Sarge and Friends episode. Again, it's several different things that I got to put together, so it'll take me a minute. I've recorded some stuff for a snack review. Very untraditional, because it's not food. It's a surprise. Let's leave it a surprise, yeah? But there will be food in it, but it doesn't start with food. It starts with it's something else. But that'll be up whenever it's up, because those snack reviews, sometimes I'll have clips for months before I upload them, because I want to get enough stuff for one video. I don't want to just be one thing most of the time. Unless it's one of those spicy challenge ones. Those tend to be long enough for a whole video. I've got some discs and depths I plan to do. The US version of The Office and the UK version of The Office I'll probably do in one video. My entire JoJo collection. Malcolm in the Middle, the complete series. There's a few others I want to do. MXC Volume 5, 4 and 5, because I have that now. I'm debating if I want to do that now, or maybe order Takeshi's Challenge, or Takeshi's Castle, rather, the German release, and compare and contrast the two. I might do that, we'll see. I might do some more of those dumb personality which character are you quizzes, because those are a fun time waster too, but who knows. Yeah, there's lots of stuff planned, obviously. I had to wear this at a diner the other day. I don't usually wear this kind of shit in public because it's not required. But there was a diner that required it, so I did. When places require it, I'm more than happy to do it. But frankly, unless you're sick, they have a very minimal impact on preventing anything. Like, they don't really prevent you from getting sick, they prevent you from spreading it. Which I do understand why they'd want people to wear it, because they don't want you to spread it. But I don't really go a lot of places anyway. Because not a lot of places are open, but I got to go to a diner the other day, so that was nice. Had to wear this, but I got to go, so that was something. But yeah, hope you're all doing well, and have a spadoinkle day.